Anime tourism isn't the problem. Elitism is. I feel sick to my stomach just even saying that. And it makes me even sicker to know that the person that wrote this article is the same person that wrote the fan service article defending fan service within anime and manga less than a month ago. You can see it's by the same person. It's written. This article is written by the same person on both. And I'm just like, how did their opinion swap that quickly? Especially when you look at their original post that has 10 million views on it, and if you scroll through the comments of this post, most people are actively agreeing with this post and happy that this article is calling out those that deem to change anime and manga and get rid of anything or censor anything that is deemed problematic or icky. And it's crazy how the individual that posted that article could post something so stinky like this. And I'm just like, why? You built up some goodwill, and then you do something like this. It's like, why would you do that? So let's get right into this. So this article is very disingenuous. First off, what the article tries to do is basically say people that are trying to gatekeep, people that are trying to protect their hobbies, people that are trying to, stop people from coming into the anime and manga community that are, brand new. It tries to paint these like individuals that are protecting their hobbies as bad people or bad actors, when in reality, it doesn't get into the core crux of the issue of why people call others anime tourists. It's people that come into the anime and manga community, mostly new fans thanks to COVID generation, and they want to, instead of integrating into anime and manga's community, they want to fundamentally change it. They want it to censor itself. They want to remove any content that they deem problematic or icky. We have seen many examples of this, but one of the most obvious examples is clearly fan service or dark content. Anything that, is deemed, let's say, too sexual, for instance, you'll have people go out of their way and be like, I hope this is fixed, I hope this is censored, oh, they fixed it in the anime, or whatever. You'll hear people do this. I mean, recent examples is obviously from what we got with Dawn to Dawn, or you get stuff like this with people being very upset with, like, My Dress Up Darling for having fan service. And when you look at these type of things, these are individuals that we call anime tourists. They're people that come into the anime and manga community that fundamentally want to change the community. They don't want to integrate peacefully. They want to make sure it is their safe space. They want to make sure it is their hobby, and they want to basically take it away from people that have already been here for a very long time. It's literally the meme of, like, you create your own safe space, you create your own area to be with your own hobby, and then people invade your hobby, and then they're like, oh, you don't fit in here anymore. It's literally that meme. That's exactly what anime tourists really are. They have effectively invaded the hobby because they don't want it to be what it is. Anime and manga, they want it to be what they want it to be, and that's the end of the line. If it's not, they want it removed. They want it censored, for instance, and they will go out of their way to buzzword you. They'll call you, like, for instance, the, worse than Hitler or whatever if you dare watch the wrong anime or talk about the wrong manga. So the fact that this article is so disingenuous, and it tries to paint anime tourists as these, underdogs, these people that are, misunderstood, or they're being mistreated, or, oh, they shouldn't be gatekeeped. I'm just like, how to expose yourself as an anime tourist, which is shocking, because as I already pointed out at the beginning of the video, the writer of this article is literally someone that was defending fan service. Now, there was points within that article I remember reading when I was making a video on it a month ago that did stand out to me. It showcased that they thought some fan service and all that didn't need to be, there or exist, but it was just their personal opinion at the end of the day. It didn't seem like they were forcing their will on anything. It didn't seem like they were trying to get it effectively removed. They just might not care too much for fan service in certain series, which is fine if that's their personal preference. But the point is this article paints them in such a light to where they do want problematic content removed. They do want content that is, they don't like completely removed from the medium, and I think that is absolutely messed up. And so let's read this article for a second before I go any further, and let's just dissect what they're actually saying here, because it really is just a dumpster fire. Every community that grows eventually forgets what it felt like to be small. Anime used to be a secret handshake, something whispered about in school hallways, traded on burned CDs, and defended against ridicule. It was a culture built by outcasts who found meaning in stories that the mainstream ignored. Honestly, that's very accurate. That's a really good start, because honestly, back in the early 2000s, even the 2010s, I remember, if you talked even about Dragon Ball, you were bullied. People like to rewrite history, revise history. No, if you talked even about Dragon Ball or Pokemon, Pokemon, you were considered an outcast. You were considered a social outcast, a weirdo, and you were potentially bullied, maybe even thrown in a locker. Who really knows? The point is that, yes, even stuff like Dragon Ball, you were considered a weirdo. Naruto too, all that. Like, yeah, straight up. So, it was something that was completely, non-mainstream, very niche, very small. It was a very close-knitted community. Now that the same culture fills stadiums, dominates streaming platforms, and trends across social media daily, but with that success came a strange bitterness. The very people who once begged for anime to be accepted are now the ones resenting how popular it's become. And that is true. Actually, that is very true. You want to know why there's some bitterness? It's like I already outlined at the beginning of the video. You have people that come into the community, instead of integrating, they want to change it. They want to censor it. They want to mold it into what they want and use it as a vessel for propaganda or a vessel for politics or whatever, and I don't like that, and many people that have been in the anime and manga community for a very long time don't like that. And here's the thing. If you're a new fan and you're not like this and you're integrated perfectly within the community, you're completely A-okay. Nobody hates you. But most of the time, a lot of the new fans are the ones that are causing the problem. And that is 100% factual. But there is definitely new fans that come in and peacefully become actual true fans of anime and manga. But yeah, the reason why a lot of people don't like the success of anime and manga is because people are trying to change what makes anime and manga so appealing and popular. They complain that anime isn't what it used to be. True. Very true. I mean, look what Crunchyroll is currently doing to anime in the West. Look what has been happening to a lot of different people now having to censor anime or different things with, like, subtitles and translations, dubs and stuff. Yeah, it isn't what it used to be. It is not. 100%. I've been talking about this subject for years at this point. That the fandom is full of tourists and that newcomers are ruining the community. What they don't realize is that this gatekeeping says more about them than it does about anyone else. Yes. So basically, me and many others that want to protect the hobby and keep anime Japanese, keep anime what it always once was, we're the problem. Not the people that are wanting to censor artists and authors and basically send them death threats or get violently angry if there is any problematic or dark content within fiction that makes them uncomfortable. No, they're not the problem. We are the ones that want to allow creative freedom. People to allow to express themselves within art or writing. We're the problem. We're the problem for gatekeeping or being upset with people coming into the community. The word tourist in anime world doesn't mean someone traveled to Japan or visiting anime landmarks. It's a new kind of label, one meant to draw a line between real fans and fake ones. True, that is actually true. An anime tourist is someone who only watches what's trending. That is true and not true at the same time. I will comment on that in a second. The meme-fueled algorithm boost titles like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, and Attack on Titan. They follow hype circles instead of studio lineups, scroll through edits instead of reading manga, and often disappear as quickly as they arrive. Some jumped in during the pandemic boom, when anime became more accessible than ever. Others treat the fandom like a fashion statement, an aesthetic to match their playlist and social media feeds. To veteran fans, these people feel like intruders, tourists in a land they never helped build. So there is some accuracies and inaccuracies to this, and it's kind of very disingenuous to try to paint tourists as like individuals that are very harmless, because I've already kind of touched upon this already multiple times within this video. But yes, there is definitely a link between anime tourists, people that want to change the culture, and people that jump on the new meme-fueled algorithm or a farming series. JJK, Demon Slayer, and Attack on Titan, and Chainsaw Man are very good examples of this. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I am a fan of all of these series. I like these series, and there is nothing wrong with people that enjoy these series, love these series, want to talk about these series. Hell, it's nothing wrong if this is one of your first anime you've ever watched. The fundamental problem here is that there is a link with people that jump on these series, talk about these series, and fundamentally want to change anything that kind of veers off from what these anime are. And what I'm getting at is like, the anime tourists, they're individuals that will buzzword you, call you Hitler or something, or they'll call you a weirdo, they'll call you a PDF, whatever, if you watch the wrong anime. If you dive a little bit deeper below the water of anime and manga culture, if you watch something that's just, let's say, a regular high school anime with some romance and stuff and some ecchi content, they will deem you a weirdo, and they will literally chastise you and say, this shouldn't exist, this is why anime is weird, or why people think anime is weird, and they would want this entire form of media sanitized, completely remove the very essence of what anime and manga has been for decades upon decades. And so yes, there is a core link with those that really watch these series and want that done. But not everybody is like that. But like I said, there is a good chunk. There is a statistic, large chunk that is like that. Anyways, the other thing is hype circles, edits, reading edits instead of reading the manga. This is extremely true. I've touched upon this before, but a lot of people that get into the next type anime, they get it through maybe edits like on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or even on Twitter or something. They'll see an edit of like maybe a character doing something cool with some weird music that doesn't really fit, but people say it fits for whatever reason, and they get their entire information of the anime through an edit, and they feel like they're completely knowledgeable, not just on the anime, but anime and manga culture itself. And so yes, there is definitely another link with anime tourists that go out of their way to just strictly watch edits or read manga chapters or watch episodes through edits on TikTok or something instead of actually sitting down and watching the show, because it showcases that they are not getting the full experience of what the anime is, and then they act like they're very knowledgeable on the topic when they're clearly not at all. So yes, definitely a correlation there. Another one, treating, anime as a fashion statement or aesthetic to match their playlist and social media feeds. This one is very vague, but one thing in particular that stands out to me that is related to this is those that, let's say, they'll cosplay a series, they'll cosplay a character. Let's say Marin from My Dress Up Darling, okay? They'll cosplay Marin, and then they'll turn around and they'll call someone a PDF for even posting, like, a fan service scene of My Dress Up Darling. But they're the same person that did a cosplay of My Dress Up Darling. And it's like, what? Like, you get my point. It's very hypocritical, so to speak. But then, on top of that, you have individuals that will look at anime as the next big thing. And so they'll call their cartoon, their glorified cartoon that is made in the West, and they'll label it as an anime, because obviously the title anime sells a lot better nowadays than titling something like a cartoon. Because if you title it a cartoon, people usually have a stigma with that as, oh, it's for kids. When you look at something like an anime, and it's considered nowadays like something for adults or kids. Now, obviously, not all cartoons are for kids. Obviously, you got like Rick and Morty, for instance, Family Guy and stuff like that, but I'm just saying there is a stigma around it, okay, for clarification. So, there is a lot of people that like to use anime as like a word to be able to sell their product too. So yes, that's another thing that I don't like companies doing, trying to profit off the boom of anime when they know next to nothing about the culture or why it's even called anime to begin with. The frustration didn't come out of nowhere. For many older fans, anime used to be hard to find and even harder to love publicly. True. They remember late nights waiting for episodes to load, trading bootlegs on blank disc, and getting laughed at for liking cartoons to them. Watching anime wasn't just entertainment, it was identity. And now with anime everywhere, the identity feels diluted. When everyone can claim it, what does it mean to have been here from the start? This is, once again, very disingenuous. Very, very disingenuous conversation right here. As I've already outlined, anyone that really unironically likes anime and likes manga and are calling people tourists, they're not calling actual anime fans tourists. We're not upset there is people watching anime. We're not upset there is new fans coming in to anime and manga. We're upset that there is new anime fans coming into the manga that want to change their culture. This is very disingenuous. There is nobody that's upset because there's more people liking a show, because we want to talk about the show. We want to analyze the show. We want to debate the show. But a lot of times when it comes to anything getting popularity, it leads to toxicity, where the community spirals out of control and you have bad actors infiltrate the community and want to change the community from within. And so that is more or less what it means and why people are upset when something gets bigger. It's not because we're upset because there's more people that like it, we've been here from the start. No. There might be some that feel that way, but I feel like that's a very small percentage. I'm just going to be completely honest. But this defensiveness has curdled into elitism. Social media has become flooded with fans who dismiss newcomers as tourists, shallow, clout-chasing viewers who only care about what's cool that season. Kind of true, actually. That it's a little bit true. There's a lot of people that only care about maybe the aura moments and they don't give a crap about anything else, and they go out of their way to crap on anything else that is anime. They'll call you a weirdo or whatever. Once again, going back to what I've already talked about, not going to repeat myself. It's a sentiment wrapped in superiority. If you only watch what's popular, you're not a real fan. That is completely untrue. As I've already outlined, there's nothing wrong with you going out of your way, watching JJK, Chainsaw Man, Demon Slayer, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you want to watch only those shows, that's completely fine. But when you go out of that corner and then you start to demand anime to censor and change itself, when you only watch those shows and you're new as well, I'm not having it. Yeah, you're a tourist. You are a stinky tourist that needs to get out of the anime and manga community. But if you're someone that only watches that and you just keep to yourself, you're not going to judge people for what they watch, you're not going to try to censor other content that you never associated with, you're completely okay. Completely fine. So, once again, very disingenuous, by the way. This article, man, how to expose yourself as a freaking tourist. Some go further calling others fake weebs or treating those who dislike certain tropes like lollies or over-sexualized characters as moral outsiders, which is... Yeah, that is actually true. You want to know why? Because the people that, are going out of their way to call them fake weebs or whatever is because the people that are upset with, let's say, something like lollies or over-sexualized characters, fan service or whatever, is because typically they don't just stop at like, oh, they don't like it. They want it fully gone. And they will advocate for violent threats against you if you even dare watch an anime or read a manga that has these type of themes. So yeah, you're not a real fan if most of the time if you're against it because you expose yourself very quickly that you want to change anime and manga. You want to censor it. So yeah, there definitely is a connect there. Yeah, this is actually spot on right here. What was once a haven for weird, passionate fans has started to mirror the judgmental mainstream it once rebelled against. And yeah, I wonder why. The danger of this mindset isn't just that it's cruel, it's that it's hypocritical. Every fan starts somewhere, and most of these somewheres are mainstream. Once again, nothing wrong with watching mainstream shows. I started with Dragon Ball, and I feel like a lot of people probably started with some pretty mainstream stuff. There's nothing wrong with starting with mainstream stuff at all. The problem is, as I've already outlined like 5 times now, the same people who now mock anime tourists once began with gateway hits like Naruto, Bleach, or Death Note. The only difference between them and the so-called tourists is that they have the time and interest to keep going. Shaming others for not being as deep into the fandom doesn't make someone more authentic, it makes them forgetful. The kind of elitism grows from nostalgia. Many older fans look back on these early days with rose-colored glasses when the community was smaller, the shows felt grittier, and the passion felt purer. But that purity came from limitation. Anime wasn't hard to find because it was better back then. It was hard to find because it was inaccessible. Being an anime fan used to mean being willing to dig, to import, to pirate, because the industry barely acknowledged you. What fans miss is equality. It's exclusivity. There is some accuracies here and inaccuracies here. I think one of the big things here is that because of how hard anime was to access, it made people that were able to access anime appreciate it a lot more, because when you sat up and you were trying to find a new manga or anime to watch, typically you wouldn't get it the same day. Nowadays, anime and manga is fundamentally different. If there is a new manga in Japan, typically you're going to have that new chapter or whatever come out as well in the other places around the world at the exact same time or maybe a day later. Same can be said for anime episodes. But in the past, back in the early 2010s, 2000s, and way before that as well, if you wanted to watch an anime upon release, there was no other way besides waiting for maybe some form of fan translation that might take weeks, maybe even months. It really just depends. Like, you find a new manga, there was many times you would probably read maybe 3 or 5 chapters, find out that the next 15 or 30 chapters are not translated, and then the rest of the chapters are translated by a completely different fan translation group. That was a very common thing. And because of how hard it was to find anime and manga to, like, read or watch things, it caused people to have more appreciation for their shows, caused them to get more involved in the culture, to research things, to know about things, to involve themselves into wanting to know when certain things come out, instead of jumping on the next main thing, or just clout chasing, or reading through TikTok edits, or watching through TikTok edits. It caused people to really try to participate and stay engaged with everything continuously, and I don't think it's necessarily exclusivity that's what people miss here. It's that there definitely was a lot more passion when it came to finding things. And there's nothing wrong with the new age of being able to easily access stuff. I think it's nice to be able to just instantly be able to read or watch something when you want. But yes, I do think in the past there was definitely more passion behind certain fan groups because how hard it was to find certain things to watch or read. And that nostalgia often comes with jealousy. Fans who built their identity around being outsiders now see younger people enjoying anime freely and feel pushed aside. It's a toy, mine mentality. The urge to hold tighter the moment someone else wants to play, but the reaction betrays the community's original purpose. The dream was always to make anime accepted, to make it accessible to let others see its beauty. That dream came true, and some people don't know how to handle that. There's There's a key difference between being an experienced fan and being an elitist. The experienced fan uses their time in the fandom to share knowledge, recommendation, older series, explaining the artistry, helping others dive deeper. The elitists use their experience as a weapon, belittling newcomers, scoffing at trends, and treating fandoms as a hierarchy. The first keeps anime alive, the second keeps it locked away. The truth is that anime tourism is a symptom of success, not decline. The fact that people who never would have touched anime a decade ago now call themselves fans is a victory. It means anime has crossed borders, languages, and generations. The tourists who come for the hype might not stay for long haul, but some will, and those who do will carry the culture forward the same way the early fans once did. The community doesn't need fewer anime tourists, it needs better role models. Instead of sneering at newcomers for not knowing enough, fans should help them find what makes the medium special. The more people who care about anime, even casually, the more support its creators and studios get, and the more studios can be told, more stories that can be told. Gatekeeping doesn't protect anime, it isolates it. Anime tourism isn't killing the culture, elitism is. Every fan who joins because of a meme or a viral scene is proof that anime still resonates with people, and it still captures imagination and emotion the way it always has. To turn those people away is to forget the anime community's own history. We were all tourists once. The goal was never to keep the anime secret, it was to see how far it could go. Once again, very disingenuous, extremely disingenuous, these last few paragraphs. Once again, I've already talked about why this is disingenuous with what an actual anime tourist is. The way they try to paint this is that everybody that's a new fan is a tourist, when that is not the case. It's just the majority that are new fans are anime tourists, which is also true. But not all of them are. But about maybe 85% of them are. And I think, in general, this article really is not a good look. Especially for those that, the same person that wrote that fan service article. It is an absolute disaster piece. And I'm just like, how? How could they have wrote such a good article literally a month ago, but then turn around and do something like this? It's bad, man. I'm going to leave it at that, though. Tell me your honest thoughts, how you felt about this article, how you feel about anime tourism. Do you think it is the problem, or do you think elitism is? Do you think content should be censored because it's problematic? You know, be honest in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you all think. But, yeah, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. It helps out with the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. But, Chibi out.